Hey, how'd you? Come on, man. You guys, I wish you guys. This is bugging me out. So I hope you guys get that when you guys watch this interview because that's crazy. Yeah. My mom gave me the Dr. J hoop. She gave me the Dr. J basketball hoop. I used inside, I used it outside. It was a little yellow ball and had him on the background. I think that was one of my favorite gifts of all time. Yeah, that's probably my favorite for sure.
Did you get your first basketball?
Yeah, I got that. I got that early though. I got that. So at that point when I got the Dr. J hoop, I kind of advanced a little bit. So that's why that was everything to me. You know, I could have inside, I could have outside, and a little yellow ball. I was mad when the yellow ball got messed up, but yeah, that's my favorite gift.
So I heard you used to walk around everywhere with the basketball. Tell me about Jamal as a kid.
I was quiet. Both my older sisters thought, you know, I was a mute or something. I didn't talk at all. I just was really observant. I just paid attention to everything that was going on around me, but I didn't talk a lot. You know, I just had my basketball with me all the time. I always had candy with me. I always had some sunflower seeds or something. You know, like I was just a normal kid who loved sports. And I remember I played football, I played baseball, but basketball was always just natural to me. It was always natural to me. I remember as 8 years old, I was on the 8, 9-year-old team, and we were just doing 2-line layups. And you know, some kids were struggling to get up there. I was doing like reverse cradle layups at 8, 9 years old. I was like, okay, I think this can work. So it's pretty cool.
But who were your biggest inspirations as a kid?
My biggest inspirations, besides my parents, obviously, was Michael Jordan. You know, he just seemed so perfect to me. You know, and to watch him every single night, it was almost like a computer or a robot. Like you knew the shot was going in, somehow you knew the Bulls were going to win. You knew he was never going to lose, and then off the court he handled himself with grace and class, and he just seemed like the perfect person to me. I know nobody is perfect, but that's what he seemed like to me. So after God and my parents, it was Michael Jordan.
Did you have Come Fly With Me?
Are you serious? I had Come Fly With Me, I had Airtime, I had Michael Jordan's Playground. I had all those, like those.
Did you have the special edition Come Fly
Oh
With Me?
my goodness, are you serious?
Hi, my name is Michael Jordan. I want you to take a trip with me and discover the secrets that I've known for many years. That man was truly destined to fly.
It's like the remix of Come Fly With Me.
Are you serious? Oh, I'm watching this. I'm buying a VCR just so I can watch this.
You have to go to
This is crazy. I had every Michael Jordan, and I probably watched this as a kid. I probably watched it 200 times. Like, not this, obviously, the remix edition, but the Come Fly With Me, Michael Jordan's Playground, when Kid and Play was on there singing songs, and it was unbelievable. This is crazy. Thank you.
So,
I'm about to mess up the interview and start giving you daps and hugs every time I get a gift. Thanks a lot. He was everything, especially in Seattle. You know, I just liked how he went about his business. He was quiet, he was humble. As talented as he was very, very down to earth. You know, I think at that time when I was growing up in Seattle, him and Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, we had 3 of the biggest stars in sports, period, you know, right here in the city. So they were everything to me. I remember a guy I knew was training his dogs. I was like, man, you train his dog? I thought that was cool, just to train his dogs. He had 2 Rottweilers. And then he did a song with Kid Sensation, which is pretty dope, you know, and then just being around the city. And then I actually had a chance to meet him. I actually have a picture of him in my house. And I was like a little kid. That was only like 4 years ago. I was like a little kid meeting him.
It's funny you mentioned Kid Sensation. So you were familiar with the local rappers?
Yeah, for sure.
So Mix-a-Lot, Kid Sensation.
Mix, yeah, Kid Sensation, and now Macklemore, so all of them.
Do you remember the name of the song Ken Griffey did with Kid Sensation?
Wait, it's The Way I Swing. The Way I Swing. Man, come on, man. Are you serious? I gotta give him that. I don't know if you guys, this is crazy.
I'm ready to swing to the beat, kid. Well, go ahead, kid, and grab the mic and swing again.
Oh my goodness. K-Sin. That's crazy. Number 8. I just listened to that song this summer. I haven't heard it in so long. I was like, let me go to it on YouTube and listen to it.
Yeah, he actually did 3 songs with Kid Sensation.
This is unbelievable. Yeah, these are the best gifts I got. And you're taking over. You're taking over. This is right there, my Dr. J basketball hoop. These are the craziest gifts I may have ever gotten.
off to high school in Rainier Beach. So I heard you say once that was the most fun you ever had playing basketball.
Yeah, it was. It was just the fact that, like, everything really took off at that time. You know, like, it was just, I was a kid. After the games, you can go catch up with your friends. There's no pressure on what was going on in the rest of the world or bills or this person needing you for this or that. It was just fun, you know, and just to be free on the basketball court. Like, I could do anything I felt like doing, and my coach trusted me, and my teammates' coach trusted me. So it was unbelievable. That's still the most fun I've ever had playing basketball. And I have a picture in my barbershop that I showed you guys. It's my favorite picture of all time is when I was in high school. I was a lot more flashy then. I would walk down the court backwards, dribbling all the way. I remember one story playing at a rival school, Cleveland High School. I dribbled, and it's on tape. Actually, Kid Sensation has it on tape. He was at the game. So I dribbled backwards all the way down court. When the defender was at three-point line, I turned around and faced him. I touched the ground, threw it over my neck, shot a three-pointer, and started running down court before the ball went through the net, and the crowd lost it. They lost it. And just to have that freedom and do everything, I was way more. Then I was trying to embarrass every single person I played against. Now I'm a lot nicer, but then I was trying to embarrass everybody.
So we got to go beg Kid Sensation for this tape now.
Yeah, right? He has it somewhere, for sure.
Did you work on your ball handling back then?
Never. It's almost embarrassing because I couldn't tell you a drill to do. Like, I don't do drills at all, and I think that's why a lot of people that handle the basketball, I think mine looks different, you know, and it's just because I've never done a drill. I've never done get to a chair and go through your legs or get to a spot and a cone and go through your legs or behind your back. It was always off instinct because that cone is not going to be a 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" wing who's athletic, who can jump and, you know, and can move. So I think with me not scripting anything, my moves are more effective that way.
Who's coaching your basketball team in high school?
Mike Bethea, he's still there now. He meant a lot. He was like a father figure. You know, he was the guy who cared about all his players on and off the court. He was the guy who knew how to push whatever button it took to get you to respond. I remember one time we were playing, it was actually that picture, that same picture I showed you that game, and we were down by 20 at halftime to a team that was really good, but we thought we could compete with Mercer Island High School. And he got on me and David King, who was the other best player, and David King was almost in tears, and you know, it was like I was shell-shocked, but he knew exactly what buttons to push, and he always has, and we still talk to this day.
Did you know you were going to be an NBA player when you were in high school? Or at what point?
Yeah, I think when I was 16. So the Pro-Am that's now Seattle's Pro-Am was Doug Christie's Pro-Am, and I was on Doug's team. He took a special interest in me because he went to Rainier Beach High School as well, and 10 years before, but he saw something in me, you know, so I used to go work out with him and train with him and work with him. And I actually played on his team at 16, and when he got hurt, you know, the first couple games before he got hurt, I had like 0 points, 2 points. Guys were bigger than me, stronger than me. And once I figured it out and he got hurt, it was my opportunity to just go play and just go ball. And I averaged 30 points as a 16-year-old from that point on against the Sean Kemps and Damon Stoudemires and those guys. They were already NBA veterans, and I was a high school kid. So at that point, I was like, okay, this can be realistic.
Who was a tougher person for you to go against? Those guys or Doug Wren from Odeya?
Oh my goodness. Doug Wren for sure, because he was, at that time, I would say him and myself were the two best high school players, you know, and Doug kind of helped put Seattle basketball on the map nationally as far as going to AAU and doing that. And he had a lot of letters, and he could have went a lot of different places, you know, and Doug was a guy who was jumping out of the gym, who had an all-around game, slasher, and his team was really good, you know, and I think Doug was right there. We were neck and neck, you know, so I think going against him was definitely tougher.
How did it feel winning that championship?
That was my best high school memory, you know, because it was like everything happened. That was my first year playing high school basketball, and then to win City Player of the Year and State Player of the Year and to win a championship. It was everything, you know, all in 1 year. It's time, and I think that is the only championship I ever won since high school, so definitely that was the best moment. I chose Michigan because of Fab Five, you know, and basically knowing that Jalen Rose and Chris and Juwan and Ray and Jimmy, they helped change college basketball. You know, having the black socks and the ball heads and the baggy shorts. Yeah, I didn't care how far it was, and I didn't even realize how far it was, but after I went on my visit, I was like, I'm coming here. But even before that, I was like, I'm going to Michigan. Before I was eligible to play basketball in high school, I was like, I'm going to Michigan. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but it ended up working out just as God wanted it to.
Tell me about this picture and these guys.
And where are you getting this stuff from? Are you serious? I haven't seen this in forever. So these two guys were part of the second best freshman incoming class in the country. You know, and Lavelle Blanchard was Gatorade National Player of the Year that year. Kevin Gaines was an All-American, one of the best point guards in the country. And then myself, I made second team parade All-American. So we were number 2 behind Duke. That year, Duke had Jason Williams and Dunleavy and Boozer and Casey Sanders and those guys. And we actually played them that year in a memorable game, but this is crazy. I haven't seen this picture in I don't know how long. This is Slam, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's your first appearance in Slam.
Are you serious?
So you can add that to your collection.
And I got the headband on it. That's why I was repping the headband.
Oh, I got some questions with the headband.
Oh, man. This is crazy. This is a gift from mine, too. I gotta get this back.
Keeping all this stuff. You might want to stack.
Yeah, right? Golly. It's crazy.
But I heard you got homesick.
After my freshman year, during my freshman year, I did. Like you said, when I committed to go to Michigan, I didn't realize it was really that far. I'm like, I just always wanted to go to Michigan. That was in my head. And during my freshman year, I definitely got homesick. So going back my sophomore year, I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, I didn't want to transfer, but I just was homesick. You know, but I'm sure I would have found a way to cope with it. But I was kind of unsure at that time, and I put my name in the draft.
So there's some rumors at the time that you were thinking about transferring
to Washington. That was an option for sure, you know, because just a year ago I could have went to Washington, but it was all about Michigan. So, but it was definitely a funny story. I don't think I've ever said this, but I put my name in the draft because we all had summer school to go back to Michigan. I was so homesick in Seattle. I'm like, well, if I put my name in the draft, that means I don't have to go to summer school and I can stay at home another month and a half, and that's what I did. So putting my name in the draft, I didn't really think I'd be drafted that high because I didn't sign with an agent. I was like, all right, I have the opportunity to go back to Michigan, but that at least gets me another month and a half at home. And then I went to Chicago camp and things worked out, but I was definitely homesick. For me, I didn't understand. Like, it wasn't an AAU coach, it wasn't an alumni, it wasn't a booster. It was truly like a family friend. Somebody was well off, but it's still a family friend. And I didn't understand what rule I'd broken. I didn't think I broke any rules, and come to find out, I didn't, and that's why they reinstated me. I didn't know at Michigan that I got basically suspended from the NCAA indefinitely, and Michigan didn't really want to tell me that because it probably didn't want to hurt my feelings. I didn't understand. In the process, we appealed it and we won, and then that's where like, okay, we have to be suspended the rest of the season, and then he come back and miss 2 games going into the sophomore year. But I didn't think I broke any rules. Like, I truly did not think I broke any rules. It was just a family friend. And I think now it's weird because who's to say there's a kid in college who hasn't gotten help with, you know, going home or something, or meals to eat, you know, and they're not getting paid in college, or just money to go to the movies. That's breaking a rule technically in their terms, and I just didn't understand it. Right.
Do you think college players should be paid?
I'm not sure they should be paid, but I think they would stay in school a lot longer if they were paid. And I don't think they should get paid millions of dollars. I'm not saying that. I'm saying as far as if they just got a little bit of money where they weren't hungry all the time, or if they weren't, they wanted to buy a pair of shoes, if they wanted to get some clothes, if they just had a little bit of extra pocket change for that, I think they wouldn't feel the pressure of always having to, you know, come out early.
You remember what you were wearing earlier in the day?
Yeah, I do remember. I had a Chicago Bulls cutoff shirt, a Chicago Bulls shorts, because I worked out for them previous to the draft, a black bandana like Iverson, some black socks, and some black Jordans.
So how'd you feel when the Cleveland Cavaliers drafted you?
I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked because I never worked out for him. I never spoke to him. But it's always like when, you know how the draft is, when the cameras start coming around at that time, when the cameras start coming around like you're about to be drafted, you know, but I'm like, this guy's a mistake. I didn't work out for Cleveland, you know, so the cameras start coming around, and then 8th pick, Cleveland Cavaliers select Jamal Crawford. I'm like, what? At that time, it was just like a dream come true to be selected. I'm doing a press conference 15 minutes later for Cleveland, like, you just been traded to Chicago. I'm like, what? Like, I always loved Chicago, you know, like it was a cool moment, but yeah, so that caught me off guard when I was drafted there.
I know you have a photographic memory for everybody.
Somewhat.
Can you name the guys that were drafted ahead of you?
Yeah, I think so. It's Kenyon Martin first. Ooh, Stromile Swift 2. Darius Miles 3. Marcus Fizer 4. Mike Miller 5, Jamar Johnson 6, Chris Mims 7, and I was 8.
Wow. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know what's interesting? Only 4 players from that first round are still in the NBA.
Are you gonna ask me to name those guys too?
No,
Oh.
I'm just saying, but that's
Well, hold on, that is crazy. I think it's myself, Mike Miller, Hugh Turkoglu, and Kenyon Martin, I believe.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Slam Magazine. For the rookies, they always do this rookies most likely to.
Uh-huh.
So this is from your draft class.
Oh, this is crazy.
And 4 people had you most likely to lead the league in turnovers.
Are you serious?
You got anything to say to those people now?
I got the last lap, hurt Tim Floyd running laps. I was on that one. Scoop had me average 10 assists. I haven't seen this since then. I think this may hurt my feelings. Wish he never left school. Jamal Crawford, Dennis Page. I gotta find Dennis Page. Ben Osborne. Who else had me on here? Wish he never left school. Me and Mike Miller. Alan Paul. Where are these guys at? I'm gonna find them. Small world now with Twitter and Instagram and all that. Lead the league in turnovers. You know what? I've always been driven by both sides. Like I've always been driven by people that believed in me because I wanted to prove they were right. And the people that didn't, I wanted to prove they were wrong. You know, so I've always been driven to stay motivated. So for me, it's funny, like you said, looking back now. At that time, it hurt my feelings, I'm sure. You know, because like, dang, lead the league in turnovers. But I was flashy at that time as well, so I understand, I get it. But it's just funny how things work out. You know, like here I am, going on my 15th season, and I feel like I'm better than I've ever been. Yet, you know, wish I would never left school, according to a couple of them.
You remember the first cars you bought with that NBA page?
Yeah, I got a black Escalade, and then I ended up giving it to my mom a year later. That was the first car I bought. And I was like, man, am I gonna break it by driving, you know, too fast? And it smelled new. I wanted to always smell like that, so that was my first car I bought.
And you got a Mercedes too, right?
I did, I got a silver one. How'd you know that? What's he doing, man? Was he with me? Was he like on my shoulder? And then I got a silver one, so that's why I got the first 2 years, my first year.
You remember what nickname you had selling into the seats?
I think I had JC, Jayce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't use it anymore.
Yeah, I don't use it anymore. That's crazy. Gotta reinvent yourself. How do you know this? How do you know this stuff? Eric, what's he doing, man?
It's not like I was gonna ask you, do you remember having a $4,500 cell phone bill?
I had a $4,000. No way.
Till the Chicago Sun-Times.
I did?
In your rookie year, because you were calling home so much, you had a cell phone bill.
That's crazy.
$4,500.
What was I thinking about? That's crazy. That's unbelievable. That was tough because here I am, a lottery pick, and as we see, a lot of people had opinions, and I didn't play a lot my first year. I didn't play well either. I wasn't ready. Looking back, I wasn't ready. I thought I was. You know, here I am, I'm thinking, a team that's not that good, we're rebuilding. I'm a lottery pick, I should be playing a lot, you know, to get the experience. Sorry about the dogs, but then going into my second year, I'm feeling a lot better. Like I get it now. You know, I'm working out with Michael Jordan. He took a special interest in me. I'm working with him every day. I'm getting better. I feel my game getting better. Then I come down and I do a move and I tear my ACL and meniscus, part of my meniscus. And I'm like, why me? You know, like, I haven't got a chance to prove I belong in the NBA yet, and here I'm getting injured. You know, I'm gonna miss another year. So I worked hard, came back early, and the last part was mental. I haven't really done that move that I did when I tore my ACL since. You know what I mean? The last part is mental as far as, can I still do this move? Can I still do that? And that was the last part for me. And that was the toughest part, the mental part of it.
I heard some great stories about you playing with Michael Jordan, like in the summer. And I guess supposedly you hit a game winner once off of a Jordan assist.
Yeah, that was one of the last days I played. Come on, man. You guys, I wish you guys, this is bugging me out, so I hope you guys get that when you guys watch this interview, because that's crazy, yeah. I remember playing against, I think, Tim Hardaway and Penny, a lot of guys were there. Antoine Walker, a lot of guys were there. Mike Finley, and he passed, it was an intense game. He passed to me to hit the game-winning shot, and I hit it. And my confidence just kept rising and rising. And actually, we never lost in 2 summers. We never lost playing together. Against Toronto, it was the end of the season, and I was wearing the S. Carters, and actually Jay sent me a message afterwards, like, it must be the shoes. I'm like, oh, you would say that, but No, those were good times. It was fun. You know, it was weird because I remember Antonio Davis looked up. He's like, "You got 46?" We're in overtime. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I didn't even know it." You know, and I was like, "I got to get the other 4 at this point, and we got to win." I've never scored 50 and lost. Like, I want to make sure we win when I score big like that. But I remember at 22, I think through 3 quarters, and I scored 24 in the 4th, and I think I scored 4 in overtime.
I heard you were feeling it before the game started. You even said you might go for 50.
You're scaring me. You're scaring me. I did. I told Roman Madrowski that. He's like, "This is one of my last days on the beat." He's like, "Why don't you get 50?" And I was shooting, and everything was going in. I was like, I think today I can do it. And then I got 50. It's crazy because I never scored 50 in anywhere, you know, and to say that and actually do it was pretty cool.
So one of my favorite things out of your time in Chicago, and I wish I could find one of these, but I can't. Please explain the D-band.
No, you're never gonna find a D-band. So somebody came to me with a proposal. It's like, "Hey, there's this new headband out. You're known for the headband. It's this D-band. It's like 2 headbands in one." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "We'll give you $5,000. You take a picture." I'm like, "I'm a rookie." I'm like, remember, I got a $4,500 cell phone bill. I'm like, I can take care of the cell phone bill with this $5,000 and have $500 left. So I'm like, "All right, $5,000, take a picture." Like, he's like, Ron Artest is doing it. Eddie Curry. I'm like, "All right, cool." Picture took all of 2 minutes, and I had $5,000. That was it. And I never knew the D-band would haunt me like that.
How did you meet Jay-Z?
I told Michael Jordan I wanted to meet Jay-Z. I was like, because me and Mike had became, you know, at that point, I still saw MJ, but it's more along friends. I was with him every single day. When I tore my ACL, he called me, and the night before surgery. So it was like we were friends. I'm like, "You know what? I want to meet Jay-Z." He's like, "You want to meet Jay-Z?" He's like, "All right." Fast forward maybe 3 weeks. I'm walking up to a car and Worldwide West, as you guys know him, Uncle West is standing outside the car. I just tore my ACL, and we're all hanging out. And he's like, "What are you doing without your crutches?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. They took the fluid out. Surgery's next week. I'm good." And I'm walking up to him outside of a car, and I didn't even, you know, I'm not paying attention. It's just a car right there sitting on the corner. Black truck, black SUV. So when I get up to West, he's standing outside. When I come, like I'm walking towards him, when I get to him, the window rolls down. When the window rolls down, it's Jay. And I'm literally like this close to him, as close as we are. And I said, "Oh!" And I backed up. I took like 4 steps, like, it caught me so off guard. And so we're talking, you know, and then we hang out that night, me, him, MJ, Antoine Walker, Mike Finley. It was so many of us hanging out that night. Charles Oakley, you know, and that's where the friendship started, through MJ.
And then so Jay wanted to compete with Fat Joe in this tournament. He basically assembled, in my opinion, the most insane dream team ever.
So I never, ever, ever answer unavailable calls or private numbers or block numbers. I don't know why I answered this one. So I answer the phone. It's Jay on the other line. And at this point, we already had a relationship. I'm in the studio with him when he's making Best of Both Worlds, and you know, we were exchanging emails and texts and all that. So he calls me, he's like, "Yo, I need you." I'm like, "What's up? What you need?" You know, of course, anything. He's like, "I need you to come to EBC and, you know, come play in the Rucker with me." It's like, "We can't lose. We cannot lose." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, I'm gonna bring Eddie Curry too. That's my big fella. That's one of my best friends. He's like, "All right, cool. I need you this day." I'm like, "All right." He only wanted me to come play once. We go down to New York. We're in Chicago, so it's not a long flight. We go to New York, and me and Eddie go down there. And we go there, we hang out, go to 4040, hang out, and go to EBC, and we won, of course. And then it was like, we just had to keep going. You know what I mean? So we started going every single week, basically. And then we went all the way until the championship, and the Blackout happened. And Fat Joe had his team, and we had our team. And the day of the game, myself, Eddie, LeBron, Kenyon Martin, all of us are hanging outside 4040, and the lights, Jay, Beyonce, and the lights go out. And we're like, okay, the lights are out. Jay had said, we were at 4040, he had said he rode past there earlier in the day in an unmarked car, of course. 10,000 people there, and the game didn't start for another 5 or 6 hours. Like, this was gonna be the game of the summer anywhere in the US. They had Stephon, Al Harrington, Zach Randolph.
There was a rumor they had Chris Webber and Carmelo on the side waiting, like they didn't want to let it.
And we had Shaq and T-Mac on the side waiting. It was gonna be the craziest game ever. Like it was 10 to 15,000 people 4 hours before the game started. And then the blackout happens. At that time, we didn't know it was a blackout. We were like, the lights are all out in New York City. We're like, all right, this is New York City. Like the lights are gonna come on in 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. So here we are, we're waiting. And then Jay and B were actually going on vacation the next day. So everybody was like, why don't we schedule it? But they were leaving that night, actually, after the game. And I think wagers and bets were placed between the two moguls, and it just never happened.
The story is Jay had $100,000 in a paper bag.
He did, he left it. He left it at 40-40 and had somebody go back and get it. That's a true story, we saw it, we all saw it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know Fab Five Freddy was doing the documentary.
He was on the bus and everything, yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll never see the footage.
Yeah, it was crazy. That game couldn't have happened. It was just too big. Like it went exactly how it was supposed to go. And if you try to recreate that a week later, it's just not supposed to happen. That game was going to be unbelievable. It would looked like Rucker back in the days when Dr. J and those guys were playing. Like it was going to be like that for sure.
Just play. Stop taking off. G4's about to land. See how we cross brand. We boss about it, man. Got the soul of the old Gucci's. If you upset, sue me. If not, sit back and watch me do me.
Jalen Rose and myself were both for Reebok at the time, and usually when they send like lifestyle shoes or off the court shoes, they send them to our lockers, and our lockers are right by each other. And so one day, the S-Dots came. I looked over at Jalen's locker, and he didn't have any. So I'm like, okay, well, what's this? And so they told me, like, well, Jay's doing a shoe. And at that time, he had the low-cut S-Dots. And the rumor was, or they told me, if you like the shoe in the basketball sense, he's going to come out with it. I'm like, well, I love it. They're like, no, you have to try it on. I'm like, I'm wearing this, regardless. And then one of my first games I wore them in, it was against AI in Philly. I remember he looked down like, man, you feel comfortable in those? Like, you safe in those? I'm like, yeah, I feel good in them. And that's Jay-Z in the shoe, and he wants me to wear them. I would have loved to have worn them if they didn't feel good. And then the next year they made like a more basketball style shoe for me to wear.
I'm a hustler.
Good morning. Here's the new S-Carter basketball shoe.
That was cool. We actually did that in Long Island, and I had practice that day, and they were there basically all day shooting. You know, directors and stuff, when they want you there, they don't understand you have practice and all that. So Jay actually sent the helicopter and flew me over. And we did the commercial. We were there probably 8 to 10 hours, knocked it out. They had these imaginary posts popping up, so I had to do moves. And at that time, there wasn't the post there. I didn't see them until the commercial came out, and they had numbers on them, like Kobe's number and a bunch of other numbers on them. And I was supposed to be shaking them, and it was fun. It was cool. And that was the commercial. It's probably the only commercial Jay's done with a basketball player.
So Jay's one of your favorite rappers. And,
of all time, easy. The favorite.
A lot of his albums are some of your favorite albums.
Yeah.
Can you give me a list of your favorite albums of all time?
Of his?
Nah, just favorite hip-hop albums of all time.
Oh, for sure. Life After Death, Biggie, Reasonable Doubt, Blackout and Jay. Against All Odds, Machiavelli, Pac, Illmatic, Nas. I would say those are my favorite albums of all time.
It's funny that you mentioned the Biggie one, because I know this has extra meaning to you. Here's a single from Sky's the Limit. Why is that important?
This guy here, man. I'm gonna have to give you gifts by this when this is over with. Because like Big, I don't know, he was so talented. I've never ever heard Big on a bad verse in my life. Like never. He wasn't around that long, but if you saw the growth from his first album to the second album, it's just unbelievable. Sky's the Limit, I actually have tattooed right there on my forearm, you know, and the words to it: stay far from timid, only make moves when your heart's in it, live the phrase, sky's the limit. Those are words I live by. So for me, it just hit home. And sky's the limit. Most songs you can listen to, like obviously in the daytime, you listen to rap music or something to get you motivated. At nighttime, you kind of slow it down a little bit. Sky's the limit, you can play it anytime. Daytime, nighttime, I went to sleep to it before, you know what I mean? So, and even if you watch the movie Notorious, when Big heard it, when he was playing in the back, he was like, I'm the greatest. Like he knew off that song, he's like, he's the greatest. And that's my favorite song of all time. Sky's the limit. I was excited. I talked to Jay, I talked to Tata, like immediately. It was crazy. One of my first memories was Adam Sandler at a game. He was at a game, and then later that night, me and Stephon went to towel and ate, and Adam Sandler was there. And it's like he knew me just because he was at the game earlier, you know. And my first year, Samuel L. Jackson, I didn't play against the Miami Heat. Samuel L. Jackson came, and I was in a suit, and he's sitting across the bench, and he's like, he threw his hands like, "You're not playing?" I'm like, "No, I'm hurt." He's like, "Oh, like I only came to watch you play." I was like, "That's crazy." Like Samuel L. Jackson's one of my favorite actors. And then the night I scored 52 against the Heat, Heath Ledger was actually at the game, you know, and they played in the Dark Knight. And I didn't know that until after, because they had like pictures of celebrities who was at the game that night. And it was just crazy to know that he was there, because he passed, you know, shortly after.
You know, it's funny. That was actually a pretty good Samuel Jackson impersonation.
Yeah. Nah, that was cool. I remember what I was wearing and everything. It was pretty cool.
All right, you know, I hate to sound like I'm just going off on slam, but
No. What they do this time?
funny. You see your name at the top, right?
Ooh, I do see that. Yeah.
Okay. So I was all excited. I like, all right, Jamal Crawford.
Don't tell me I'm not even in there.
There's no article on it, but there's a poster.
Yeah.
So, but,
Look at Joe in the background. I remember that. That was a preseason game.
so it's a great poster, but they put your name on the top, and I'm thinking there's gonna be a big article.
See, they got you to buy it. They tricked you.
Yeah, they did. That is the reason why I won. Oh well, so that's your first poster in Slam magazine.
I haven't seen this since whenever this magazine came out. So 9 years ago, which is crazy. And I'm not even a one-hand dunker, so I thought I was gonna miss that dunk, but I was in the garden, so I had to go for it, even though it's preseason. Had my S-Dots on, the JC on them, just like I spun down the Escalade. Actually, if you look down that road, you see Fat Joe, you see Mike Breen doing the game, John Starks, you see Dame Dash over there too. That's the thing about the garden, that's why it's electric. You never know who's gonna be in there, like ever. And it's like you're on stage.
New York Knicks, and we welcome you back to the world's most famous arena. This is a game that if you're a season ticket holder, you are using the ticket yourself. Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade, the Miami Heat.
I missed my first 4 shots, and one of them was a dunk. We were playing the Heat. They had just won a championship. And I actually had been put in the starting lineup for that game, and Steve Francis was out or something like that. And then I scored 52 in 39 minutes. So I missed my first 4 shots, and then I hit 16 in a row at 42, and I came out the game at 52 with 7 minutes to go. So I still think, like, man, that could have been 60, at least 60. I could have got 8 points in 7 minutes. Free throws late in the game, just close to start fouling. But I think I could have got 60 plus that game.
During a post-game interview, you were saying how you got 24 text messages, which is the most you've ever gotten.
Yeah.
If you would do that nowadays with social media,
My Twitter would have crashed. It probably would have crashed, honestly. Like, I wouldn't even be able to go back but 5 minutes to see what people were saying, you know, and I would have rushed to my Twitter for sure. That was the hottest night of my life. Like, I felt like anything I threw up, I could have. And I've had hot days and hot nights, but I feel like anything, usually you have those when nobody's watching, it's just drills or whatever, and just shooting by yourself and you really zone out. But that was in front of the world, so that was the hottest day of my life for sure.
the year before that, you won Player of the Week. It's the first time you won Player of the Week.
First and only, I think. I mean, the only time I won it. Nah, it's all right. I'm honest. It's the first and only time. I should have won a couple more times, but yeah.
And you had 2 game-winning jumpers that week, including a game where you had 37 points. I'm gonna test your memory again. You know how many game winners you had in the year?
See, I count game winners a little different than they do. Sometimes they want the very last shot. If I had to guess, 11? I had 4 in one season, so I think it's 11 total.
That Knicks team was so stacked with guards.
Yes.
Can you name every guard on that team?
Which one? The one with myself, Steve Francis, Jalen Rose, Stephon Marbury, Nate Robinson, Q Richardson, Marty Collins.
How did it feel playing with Nate?
That was crazy. We played high school together. And to play high school together and then play together in the NBA for 3.5, 4 years. Same color jerseys, which is crazy. Nate was the exact same. He didn't change at all. Like Nate is Nate. When you see Nate, that's him. At 7 in the morning and 7 at night. That's Nate Robinson.
Probably was also special playing for Isaiah Thomas, right?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite players ever. He's one of my 3 favorite players of all time. Like, that's the reason I wear number 11, and I'll continue to wear it until I retire. But him, Michael Jordan, and Magic. And I try to steal parts of all their games. I mean, obviously mine is different. They're 3 of the best players ever played. But I try to steal parts of all their games. And Isaiah, to be a mentor and to take me under his wing, he actually talked to me when I was in Chicago camp watching the year after I got drafted. We talked for 3 hours. This is after I hadn't done anything as a rookie, and he told me how much he liked my game then. And the day I was a free agent, he was the first person to call. So everything he said 2-3 years previously was exactly what he felt, you know, when I was a free agent.
Now I remember there was a rumor that you were going to be traded to the Orlando Magic with Reese Taylor.
Yeah.
Penny and Trevor Reese.
Yeah.
How do you think that would have turned out in Orlando?
I've always had this thing with Orlando. Like, I've always liked Orlando. The city, and just, I've always had good vibes when I was down there, you know, and there's a lot of Knicks fans down there, and that's where I would have been coming from. So I totally, you know, I would have embraced that. I mean, I love New York and all, but if you have to get traded, going somewhere else, Orlando would have been nice. They told me, the company, after the game, I remember I was walking to the bus and I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, that's crazy. Like, those are 3 legends, you know what I mean? 3 Hall of Fame guys, and that's unbelievable. I mean, you can't explain that. Those guys are guys that have paved the way for guys like myself.
And, you know, most of their shots are probably a higher percentage too.
You said it, I didn't. You said I didn't.
So I'm gonna say you had a.
I was only guard in that clique, yeah, right. In that crew.
So then you end up going to Atlanta. Speaking of Atlanta, you ended the career of one of my favorite Hawks of all time.
Steve Smith.
Jamal Crawford threw it through my legs.
He was playing the 4, and they did a step-up screen.
Screen roll, so I put my foot on the sideline thinking he has nowhere.
I had nowhere to go, so I had to throw it.
Threw it through my legs.
Stay in bounds, and at that point I was like, I better make this shot.
He's and laid it up, but I looked at Bernie Bickerstaff as my coach, and he said, time.
I want to see footage of that. I haven't seen that since I've done it.
Time to quit. I've seen that. You remember that?
During Atlanta, you also became the 4-point leader, which probably is the most unbreakable record in NBA history, if you think about it.
Yeah, when they told me that, Reggie Miller, he played 18 years, and when I broke the record, I think I was at year number 9 or 10. So I was kind of like, I broke the record half the time it took him. So that kind of shows it's going to take a while, but there's guys who can really shoot it, you know, and can get fouled and shoot it. Steph Curry's one, you know, but it's shocking because like a team like Boston Celtics, in their history, they may have like 14 for all the players they've had, the Ray Allens and all those guys. So it's, I don't know, we'll see how long it lasts, that's for sure.
You have more than the entire Boston Celtics franchise, and you played 744 less games than Reggie Miller.
Wow.
26,000 minutes less.
Wow. Hopefully you can put it out of reach, because the NBA is the best players in the world, and all the best players come through there. So if you can have a record in anything that's positive, I think that's pretty cool.
And what's crazy is when you get past Reggie Miller, Ray Allen has 13, Dirk has 14, Iverson has 10. You have more than numbers 3, 4, and 5 combined.
14, 13, wow.
So that's
wow,
insane.
that is
Someone has
insane.
a record with more than 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, so in that year, you also won the NBA Six-Man. Tell me about that.
That was cool because that was the first time I came off the bench full time, you know, and at that point I hadn't been to the playoffs, and it was more like, I'll do anything at this point to get to the playoffs. I'll sacrifice starting, I'll come off the bench, whatever you guys want. And when I went to Atlanta, their team was intact. They were already in place, so that was the role for me. I still ended up being second leading scorer on our team behind Joe, and won the award, but things like that, awards like that can't happen without your teammates and coaches.
You won by a landslide, 580 out of 610 points. Jason Terry had 220.
Wow. I didn't even look at the scores. I was just happy I won. That's crazy. What's crazy, I've only been traded twice. Like, I've played on 6 teams, I've only been traded twice. So I was in Chicago for 4 years, and then I was in New York for 4.5 years. They traded me and Zach Randolph the same day, 2 different places, to get under the cap to have a chance to LeBron and D Wade and Joe Johnson. That's one trade. Go to Golden State, average 20. Don Nelson didn't think me and Monte could play together. Thought we were similar. Okay, I mean, he played small ball anyway, but okay, if you say it, I have no choice. I go to Atlanta, so that's my second trade. Win 6-man, and then they're tapped out basically. You know, Joe Johnson got 124, Al Horford got 60, Marvin Williams, Bibby, and Josh Smith already signed, so they're capped out. Then I signed to Portland.
Were you disappointed not to be able to play with Brandon Roy?
Yeah.
There's Blake to Roy. This is for the win.
He's one of my best friends. He's seriously like a brother to me. not to get a chance to play with him was disheartening, you know. And if I had played with him and LaMarcus and, you know, Greg, if he was healthy, I think that would have been crazy. But, you know, unfortunately, he had to retire at that time, and that was hard. And then to go there, you know, it's pretty tough. And it wasn't one of my best seasons. You know, I'm the first to tell you, I didn't play well. Like, I didn't play well, you know, and I didn't shoot it well. I didn't play well. I just didn't. There's no excuse. I didn't play well at all. There's nothing good about it. I think the only good thing is I shot a high free throw percentage, but besides that, I didn't play well. But honestly, maybe I needed that because the Clippers couldn't have happened without Portland. I couldn't have been, you know, as ready and as sharp and ready to go, you know, without falling on my butt in Portland. Best team I've ever been on, you know, to have two bona fide superstars, to have a young star, you know, in DeAndre Jordan, to play with Bledsoe, to play with Caron Butler, to play with Grant Hill and Chauncey Billups, two Hall of Fame guys, to learn from those guys and be on such a good team and play such a big role on a team like that was really, really cool. And it is cool. You know, I think we've improved both years I've been there, and this third year could be even better. You know, having Doc Rivers, knowing his system, adding pieces like Spencer Hawes and Jordan Farmar. Now I think a lot of people who haven't got a chance to see me because I wasn't in the deep playoff runs and stuff, they got a chance to see my talent, you know, being on a team like that. Blake is a true superstar in every sense of the word, on and off the court. He gets it. He knows his responsibility, you know, being that popular, and he doesn't take it for granted. You know, and on the court, our chemistry is unbelievable, you know, and even the play where I went through my legs and threw a lob to him, we talked about it one time, and it was in September. You know, so September, I said, I got this play in my head. I've had it in my head for like 15 years, but I never had the perfect person to do it with. Who better than Drake Griffin? You know what I mean? So I showed him the play. He's like, oh yeah, I could catch that, no problem. Fast forward, it's March now. I get a steal, and it's just an open court. And I'm like, okay, if he misses this, then if I do it wrong, they'll laugh at us, but if we complete it, it's never been done before in a game. So we had never talked about it since September. I do the pass, and I threw it up, and then I finally look back at him. I'm like, Blake, just please catch it. Just catch it and dunk it. You can catch it and lay it in, just catch it. He caught it and windmilled it. And then he grabbed his chest after, like he couldn't believe I did it. And I'm like, I can't believe you just did that. Like, it was crazy. And I think it had 1 million views the next day. So it's crazy. When I wasn't sure the second one was going to happen, you know, I think that's why the second one was more important to me than the first one. Whenever you can win an award like that, it doesn't happen if you're not a winning team, first off. They don't even consider people who are not winning. And then your teammates rooting for you, your coaches putting you in positions to be successful. So it's a team effort. When they told us, my whole team was happy. It wasn't just me, you know, and to win it, I thought, you know, my first year in LA, I had a really good chance, a really strong chance to win it, and I didn't. And to come back this year and win it, to be the oldest player to ever win it, and then to win it twice, and the first with two different teams is pretty cool, you know, but like I said, it can't happen without my teammates and coaches.
It wasn't politics?
I saw that. I don't think so. I thought, my thing was if you took any of the other contenders, because they were all worthy, but if you took any of those guys and put them on my particular team, I'm not sure any of them would have averaged double figures. When you have Blake and CP and JJ. But on the flip side, if you put me on those other teams, I think I would average even more points. So I understand. I mean, it's tough losing sometimes, and I have respect for those players, and I still like all their games, but I don't know.
Ernie, the Clippers players chose playing rather than boycotting Game 4 of their series with the Warriors. But that doesn't mean they didn't let their feelings be known symbolically about the racist comments attributed to the team owner, Donald Sterling. Players shed their warm-ups in
It was
unison as
draining.
they took the
Like,
floor.
when we first heard about it, we were in Golden State. I remember we had a team meeting because we were talking about, you know, the Golden State series, and we were just watching film, and all of us were kind of like, oh, okay, you know, like we didn't understand the magnitude of it. We hadn't heard the videos. It just kind of got brought up like, oh, you know, the owner's involved with something, he said some things, and we're like, oh, okay, we kind of brushed that under. then when we heard the tapes and heard everything, it was like, oh my gosh, like it was, then Doc was smart enough to call everybody in, let everybody voice their opinions and their feelings on, you know, how they felt about everything. And, you know, it took us a while, but everybody decided that no matter what, we were gonna focus as best we can on the Warriors, and Doc was gonna take the heat for all of us and talk about it and deal with it. And he did a masterful job doing that, you know, but for us, we tried to concentrate on Steph Curry, you know, getting open, hitting threes, and Klay Thompson as much as possible, but it was damn near impossible, honestly, because Twitter and Instagram, all of us were on that, and it makes the world a lot smaller when you see all those things, and your family has an opinion, and everybody had an opinion. It took on a worldly view.
Why do you wear the headband?
I wear the headband because of Slick Watts, you know, and being him playing in Seattle, I didn't get a chance to see him play, but to see the highlights and different things, I thought it was cool. And at that time, only Rasheed Wallace wore it. So I was like, when I'm on the court, I'll stand out and it'll kind of separate me a little bit if I have this headband on, because nobody's doing it.
Slick Watts won the second Walter Kennedy Award. You know what that is? The Walter Kennedy Award is for people that do a lot for their community.
Right.
And then, so this was the card that was made for Slick Watts when he received the Walter Kennedy Award.
Oh, wow.
I want you to read the first paragraph.
You want me to read it out loud?
Yeah.
Too often, one hears of athletes who take the money and run, turning their backs on the public when the game is over. But there are athletes who use their free time to contribute something more significant than their athletic talents to the community. Mostly, they perform these services without fanfare or publicity.
All right. That's basically you. So that's kind of like my way of representing the Walter Kennedy Award.
Wow.
You deserve that award.
I appreciate that.
Kind of cool since
Slick was the guy, that won it, wearing the headband. That's crazy.
You read later on, they talk about all the stuff that Slick has done for schools and the things he's done for the community in Seattle. So that's
sweet. I'm gonna have Slick sign this, for sure.
So
this is dope.
Tell me about all the off-the-court stuff you do with your foundation.
Oh man, it's weird because I had never dreamed of actually being recognized for the stuff I do, because I've always done it. Like, I just didn't have a foundation in place, but I've always done the same thing. So it was like a natural progression for me. You know, we do camps every single summer. We've got a backpack giveaway where you come out for a day of basketball. The guys get haircuts, the little boys get haircuts, and the girls get their nails done, nails and feet done. And we do backpacks fully loaded with everything: paper, pens, erasers, every utensil you need to be successful in school. I think it lightens the burden on parents, you know. And when you go to school with a fresh haircut and you have all your school supplies, you feel better about yourself. You feel better, you'll be more inclined to do your work and be successful at it. So we do that. I did a basketball court outside of Liberty Park where I used to go, and now it's Crawford Court. I did a basketball court at my old high school, which is Crawford Court. I got trainers in all the Seattle public schools with Seattle Children's Hospital. And, you know, that was one thing that when I was growing up in high school, if, you know, somebody had an injury or an accident, you know, parents around the stands worried about their kid. Well, now you have trainers in all Seattle public schools, and they put everybody else at ease. And I took a step further and got defibrillators. I met with the trainers, like, what else can we do? And we got defibrillators in all Seattle public schools, and one of the defibrillators actually saved a grandparent's life, you know, at a football game watching our grandson. So we do that. We fed 10,000 people with the turkey giveaway with myself and Brandon Roy and Isaiah Thomas and Will Conroy, Spencer Haas, Cam Chancellor, and the mayor of Seattle. We do a Be There, Get There program I did with the mayor of Seattle, you know, because half the battle is just actually being to school on time. Because if you come late, then you feel out of place, and the teacher's already in, you know, mid-class, and it's tough to play catch-up. And because you learn something new every single day. We do a 4th of July barbecue for the whole city. It's free. You know, we get all the parents and the kids and everybody come out and see some of their favorite NBA stars. We do the Pro-Am, you know, which is every single weekend through July and August, and we do that for all the kids who are free. Military's free, and the parents just pay $5 to see some of their favorite NBA players. And I think that particularly is important because right now we don't have a team. So the only time some of these kids have seen a Blake Griffin or a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie Irving is on TV because they didn't come play the Sonics. So we do so many different things. I'm sure I'm forgetting something here or there, but we do a lot of different things. Oh, and the Santa Claus we do. I forgot about that. It's Jamal Claus we do every Christmas. You know, we did it at Barack Obama's charter school this year, and we passed out gifts to all the students who are who are doing really well in school, but who can't always have the best Christmas, you know, and their parents are financially strapped, so we do that for them.
For me, that's what I was looking for when I was a kid. I had a vision of how I wanted a pro athlete to be, and I'm trying to fulfill those standards. You know, growing up, I had the opportunity to be around pro athletes, and some of them were good and some of them weren't so good, you know, but I was like, if I'm ever in that position, I want to treat kids, you know, with respect. I want to look at them in the eye. I want to make them think they're the most important thing, because they are. You know, they're our future, and for us, I just want to make sure they have a special place.